and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the Pritzker Purge Law is now reality. In DuPage County, 22 pretrial defendants arrested from Sunday through early Monday were brought in one by one to the newly remodeled courtroom in Wheaton. Oh, wonderful. 14 face charges of domestic battery, misdemeanor, or violation of a protective order. For other defendants, charges range from retail theft to aggravated driving with a suspended or revoked license. Normally, these bond hearings would take about an hour for all 22. Instead, they took all day because you're not setting bond. You're having arguments between prosecutors and attorneys about who should be released and who shouldn't be based on the safety threat or flight risk. 22. Prosecutors sought pretrial detention for 10 of the 22 defendants in DuPage, and the judge ordered pretrial detention for 2 of the 22. So disagreement among about 8 of the 22 defendants and 8 of the 10 that the prosecutors wanted to hold over. Only 2 held over.
I mean, and I'm watching this video right now in Williamson County. There's a parade of people walking out. They have 163 people in custody. They released 30. They're releasing more today. They could release as many as 85 people. And the sheriff there obviously is not happy.
And to say that I'm not happy is an understatement. This is a requirement under state statute that was thrust upon us. I believe that the citizens of Southern Illinois are completely opposed to this, but the law is the law. We will comply.
That's Jeff Dietrich. He's the sheriff of Williamson County, but he's in Southern Illinois, and that's a Republican county, so who cares what he has to say?
I mean, it looks like a parade of people walking out with their papers, and some are smiling, some are trying to hide their faces, and they said, where are they going? And he told the reporter they're going back into the neighborhoods where they committed the crimes.
Well, we'll
and you
see.
think they're going to show up for their hearings?
We'll see. The question about showing up is secondary to what they do until it's time to show up, which, of course, we've seen play out in Cook County over the last 3 years, thanks to the reporting of CWB Chicago, where you've had literally hundreds of crimes committed by people awaiting trial for felony charges out on electronic monitoring who committed another felony. They attempted to murder or did murder somebody else. You've had hundreds of victims and dozens of murders every year of the last 3. Crimes committed by people on electronic monitoring awaiting adjudication of felony charges. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out in places like DuPage and the Collier counties, and if it wakes some people up, or it's wakes some people up to the new and improved justice system in Illinois, which I believe is the position of our next guest, our friend LaShawn Ford, state representative from the west side of the city. LaShawn, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan and Amy.
All right.
By the way, I like Amy better.
You like Amy? You like Amy better than me?
Most people do. I have a better disposition.
It's true.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Good taste.
That's fine. It's it's free country. Can like who you want to like, and the degree to which you like them can differ. I understand.
Right.
All right. So let's talk about this implementation. I mean, are you interested to hear from practitioners outside in the justice system, prosecutors, judges, sheriffs? Are you interested to hear from them as implementation occurs and what was envisioned by the framers of the Safety Act does or does not come to fruition?
Oh, absolutely. But, I think the framers of the bail system, let's go there, because originally the bail system was intended only to ensure that people would return to court to face the charges against them. Today, we've taken this system in a whole different direction.
Yes.
And used it to confine people, irregardless to their threat to the community. And so I think that this new elimination of the bail system deserves the law enforcement, prosecutors, and defense attorneys and judges all to work together to make sure that it works in the public interest. And if it needs to be tweaked, that's why we go to Springfield. And we amend laws all the time to make Illinois better.
Oh yeah, it's going swimmingly.
It is. I mean, that's why you haven't left. You love Illinois.
Well, I visit. Yeah.
He visits.
Yeah.
But even Mayor Johnson said, because about all the looters, we've had repeated and constant crimes. He says individuals who make decisions based upon survival, and sometimes that's someone who is caught shoplifting. They believe that they should be released. Obviously, well, it's up to a judge, but is that fair, LaShawn?
Well, I would think that when you look at our criminal justice system and taxpayers funded jails, we have to figure out how to best use taxpayer dollars. I don't think, and I don't condone anyone breaking into a department store, breaking into anyone's car, or doing anything that violates another person's freedom. And that deserves punishment. And what we have to do is make sure that we punish them and not punish taxpayers at the same time. If it means that these people need to sit in a county jail for some time because they are a threat to our democracy and to others' freedom, then they should. And what we have now with a system that has eliminated the bail system, there's only two choices that a judge has now, and that is detain or release. Before, it was so convoluted that the judges would say that they had to give a bail bond to this violent person because the law said it. Now, today, the judges don't have to do it. And the very people that we are concerned about getting out of jail, the judges now have the full discretion to keep them in.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, first of all, that hasn't been happening. It hasn't been happening under the previous system, and it won't happen under the current one because of the disposition of some of the judges, particularly in places like Cook County, but not limited to Cook County. Number one. Number two, you're still going to have decisions or interpretations, the balancing test, and different judges in different counties drawing different conclusions. In McLean County, somebody arrested on illegal gun possession charges, a felon, may be detained because there's a decision that he poses an imminent threat to the public, and in Cook County, he may not be. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have uniformity.
Well, you probably won't. You never have uniformity, and I'm gonna tell you, as a African American in Illinois, I want to make sure that we keep this could be good, bad for Black people because we know the court system has never been kind to Black people, and that is a fact. And so now we have to make sure that the discretion of the judges will be fair across the board as well. So to eliminate the bail, I've heard from some Black people say, you know what? The judges are not going to let us out. They're going to keep us in regardless of what we do. And if I had the opportunity to have a bail, I can at least bail out and fight my case pre-trial at home on bail. So I think that what we have to do is make sure that we arrest, write good reports, arrest the right people, indict the right people, send the right people before the judge so that we can review the case and detain violent people in jail pre-trial.
So would you say that how things have operated in Cook County the last several years, is that a model for the other 101 counties?
I think that what you could look at Cook County system, and you could take parts of what's happened in Cook County and use it other places. You could look at places in rural parts of Illinois and take some of that and put it in Cook County.
Well,
There has to be a balance. I mean, to say that all of Cook County's criminal justice practices are perfect, I can't endorse that.
well,
But
what part of Cook County's criminal justice system should we export to the other 101 counties?
I think that you definitely should make sure that people that have been wrongfully convicted and charged with crimes that they didn't do, they need to be released from jail. They need to be released from prison. I think that you made a strong case during your intro about how it took so long to have these bond hearings. Previously, the judge would just get a case and detain a person without an argument. It is
Well,
But
that-
without
what-
bond, there's no incentive for them to go back
Well-
for their hearings.
Well, they wouldn't detain. No, they wouldn't detain him without argument. They'd set bond, and you have a defense attorney if you're accused of something, and you've discussed this. The attorney's discussed it with you and discussed with the prosecutor, and they've agreed, and now they're going to move the caseload to the next stage. But it seems the way you talk about a bond is inaccurate. I mean, you're saying bond is fining. No, bond is guaranteeing. If you show up and you go through the process, then they don't take your money. They're not punishing you. It's ensuring, as Amy was just saying, it's ensuring appearance. So that's number
Right.
one. And number two is, well, the arguments are playing out because the stakes are higher. And now this is left to.
The stakes are always high when you're talking about a person's.
Oh, did we lose LaShawn? All right,
Yeah,
let's
something like
call LaShawn back. All right, we'll take a break. We'll get back. We'll get LaShawn back. Let him finish his thought.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, we're talking to State Rep LaShawn Ford. LaShawn, we have you back.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got cut off there. So we were just talking about the issue of bonding out and the situation in DuPage, and it took all day because there are arguments about pretrial detention. Prosecutors wanted 10 people detained, and the judge agreed to detain 2 of them. And you were saying something about the stakes are always high, and I wanted to let you finish your thought.
Yeah, the stakes are always high, Dan and Amy, when you are talking about taking away a person's freedom. What I've seen in cases where people go to bond court, there is no real deliberation about whether or not a person should get a bond or not. There's short debate, but the risk of the person to the public has not been front and center and top of mind of prosecutors, defense attorneys, and judges. That takes time, and that's what happened yesterday. There's no reason to rush to put a person that's addicted to heroin behind bars because they were caught with a bag of heroin. We need to be diverting them to treatment, not to a county jail.
Yeah, although, I mean, again, talking to county prosecutors as we have, state's attorneys, most of the jails, especially Chicagoland, the people that are being held over for pretrial detention are violent offenders, and in many cases, repeat violent offenders.
The repeat should be detained if the police and the prosecutors arrest and indict properly so that the judge could see a case that they have the right perpetrator before them.
And so when inevitably something happens where the two similar cases in one county, somebody was released pre-trial, another county, somebody was detained pre-trial, and in the county when that somebody was released, he commits a crime while awaiting trial. How are you going to explain that to the victim's family?
I think that you look at the risk and the individual. Each case is a person that is charged. We got to keep in mind one thing, that this is a person is innocent to proven guilty. And so to automatically say that because a person was arrested for a crime, that they are guilty.
Not saying they're guilty. I'm not saying they're guilty.
Well, when you say that you people in detention because we have already a violent person at this crime and you to the community, we're going to detain you. There's its argument before the judge. Because as we know, we have put the wrong person on death row for crimes that they did. You talk about a case, if the evidence proves that this person is a risk, they need to be detained. If there's question is a true risk, and we're not certain that he or she is the perpetrator, that has to be argued, and the judge must make the decision. The judge would have two choices. One, detain based on the risk of that individual and the evidence before them, or send them home on home monitoring to fight pretrial.
State Representative LaShawn Ford, we've got to leave it there. He's a Democrat representing the west side of Chicago. LaShawn, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Dan Proft here for